Hi, I'm Paul Goodwin. I'm Artistic Director and Principal Conductor of the Carmel-by-the-Sea Festival, and I want to share with you some thoughts and ideas for the festival next year, 2019. Well, we've had big blockbusters in previous years. We've had Beethoven 9, we've had Mozart's C minor Mass, we've had the B minor Mass, and of course we've had Carmina Burana. So where do we go now? Well, there can be only one piece really in my mind that is as joyous as those and is a great festival starter, and that is Haydn's Creation. Now, Haydn was inspired by Handel when he went to London and heard big scale performances of Handel's oratorios, and he wanted to write one himself. And that's why we're going to use the original English translation of the Creation to bring it closer to you. And of course our musicians will play it in their period style, which makes it very exciting. So that's our start, and also it gives us a theme of creation and birth. The reason why I say birth is that on Sunday, the second concert, we're starting off with a cycle of the cantatas of Bach's Christmas Oratorio. Now, the Christmas Oratorio was written by Bach to be performed on different days. 6 cantatas, some before Christmas, others after Christmas. So I'm going to put them together in 3 sets of 2. So you're going to get 6 cantatas, 3 conductors, 3 venues, and 3 sizes of ensemble. On the Sunday, you're going to get the biggest, parts 1 and 2, with a big chorale and chorus and full orchestra, trumpets, drums, the whole thing. On Wednesday, in the Mission Basilica, Andrew McGill will be presenting it with his chorale of elite singers, and the soloist will come from those singers with a small orchestra. And on Monday at 2:30 in All Saints Church, we're going to do it in its smallest configuration, directed by Andy Arthur, and this will be with just the 4 soloists singing the chorale, the choruses, and the solos, and just single strings. Now, this is the nearest to the configuration that Bach would have heard, and so it'll be very special in this sort of chamber venue. But what happens in the second half on Sunday? I want a complete contrast. And to that end, I was thinking, well, here we are, Carmel-by-the-Sea, in one of the most beautiful places on the Monterey Peninsula. The sun is shining, we have trees everywhere, lots of nature. What piece reflects that? Nothing better than Midsummer Night's Dream of Mendelssohn. But I want to do it as Mendelssohn originally thought of it, as incidental music to the Shakespeare play. When he was a kid, he and his sister Fanny loved every year to perform in their house in Leipzig the Midsummer Night's Dream of Shakespeare. It was his favourite piece. And it's not surprising that he wrote incidental music to that later on in his life. So we're going to present it in its completeness with Shakespeare text, read by Francesca Faradani, who is someone who has a long tradition with this festival, but also, of course, is a famous Hollywood actress, Broadway star, and straight Shakespeare actress. So I'm very excited to invite her to have this theatrical element brought into the Carmel-by-the-Sea Festival. So that gives us Sunday. Monday is traditionally our string concert, directed by Peter Hansen, our concertmaster. And this concert as well is divided into 2 halves, with the second half having the title of Psycho. We're going to be doing the whole of Psycho Suite, not just the bits you'll know, and then add lots of other film music like something from Lord of the Rings, from Schindler's List, and Dunkirk. But the first half is a bit more serious, with Grieg's Holberg Suite, which is a Baroque pastiche, if you like. But also I'm thrilled to be at last bringing America's most famous modern-day composer, John Adams, to the Carmel-by-the-Sea Festival for the first time, in that we're doing his Shaker Loops. Now, this is a very exciting, mesmeric piece that will really appeal to the youth, I think, in our audience. So I'm very excited to bring that to us. Tuesday is usually opera night. Well, I've decided to do 4 different composers and to have a theme of saints and sinners. And I'm going to start off with Handel's Acis and Galatea. And here you have Galatea, this beautiful lady, this nymph, versus Polyphemus, the monster. Then we have Stravinsky's Rake's Progress. And you have here the beautiful Anne Truelove and Mephistopheles himself in Jack's Shadow. Then the second half is going to be Mozart's Figaro. Well, here you have, of course, Cherubino and Susanna, and then the Dastardly Count. And we end the evening with a character who represents both a saint and a sinner, Bizet's Carmen. It should be a great evening. Wednesday is the Mission Basilica, and we're going to be doing 2 parts of the Bach Christmas Oratorio there with Andrew McGill. But he is going to add in antiphons from the Estonian composer Arvo Pärt to make a contrast and a very special evening for you in this gorgeous acoustic. Thursday will be divided into 2 because our festival goes over 2 weeks and we'll have 2 different concerts. One will be with the chorale and Andrew McGill, doing music both of Creation by Copland, but also of the Seasons by Gershwin and Delius and such composers. This will be chorale and piano. It's a tradition we've got. But in the first week, I'm very excited to welcome back for the 3rd time one of our violin players, Edwin Hutzinger, who is not only a great classical and Baroque fiddle player, but is also rather well known now as a folk player with his various groups. And he will be spending the year in Scandinavia researching Scandinavian folk music. Well, he's going to come and give us a program of Scandinavian folk music mixed with Baroque music, and bringing in a specialist from Scandinavia to play along, the nickel harp. So that should be, if you like, a spectacular. We do it like a pop concert. And that leads us to the final concert, the Friday, where I'm having, once again, a new commission. Over the years, I've commissioned a number of pieces for the Carmel-by-the-Sea Festival, and for 2019, I'm commissioning a piece from a Hollywood film composer, Mark Mancina, who has his studio here in Carmel and has been to many of the concerts we've done and has become a friend of ours. And I noticed that 2 of the pieces of his films have big guitar parts. And so I asked him to write a first movement to go along with that, to create a new guitar concerto. Well, he's done that, and we have a spectacular guitar concerto that will be a companion piece to the Rodrigo guitar concerto. So we'll have them both together. And then, as bookends, I'm going to start off with what I would call a symphonic poem, but in fact it's the overture to Rossini's William Tell, but in its complete version. And we end with one of my favorite pieces. I've been going through the Beethoven symphonies. I've done Beethoven 3, I've done Beethoven 7 and Beethoven 9, and I will end the festival with Beethoven 4, a piece I'm very excited about, particularly because the last movement is scurrying along and will suit our style of playing a lot and will shoot you out of the festival in a joyous way. So, all in all, I think we have a stellar lineup for the festival in 2019, one with a lot of variety and excitement, and I hope you'll come and join us. Thank you.